Hey guys, Teen here from Blue Sense Digital, and in this video I just want to quickly go through quite a cool case study of where we switched from PMax to standard shopping, why we did that switch in the first place, and the results from that, just to kind of give you another perspective on this whole process. So let's dive straight in. So just to give you a quick overview of this brand itself, this is a health brand that sells kind of health devices, so hearing aids, humidifiers, nebulizers, blood pressure monitors, etc. Now, just for reference, we came into the accounts on the 28th of November, so pretty much over here. And just to reference, firstly, performance, and then secondly, what we did in terms of account structure. So in terms of spend, so spend was pretty much averaging between $500 and $800 a day for, about a couple months prior to us coming in. Obviously, during the Black Friday period, that spend obviously increased. And then we've maintained spend since coming into the account at roughly, I would say, just over 2x what it was 2 months prior. Now, just with regards to return on ad spend, even though spend has just over 2x, ROAS has pretty much maintained and slightly improved. Usually when increasing spend, we see a decrease in ROAS, but in this case, we saw pretty much a 2x in spend and a slight increase in ROAS as well, which is obviously really, really good to see. Now, with these two working in combination with one another, in terms of conversions and conversion value generated through Google Ads, obviously, as you can see, that is up significantly since the end of Black Friday and pretty much maintained all the way through the December, early January period, when usually this period is really slow. From a holistic trend perspective, from what we can see, there is no sort of trend during this time period that could be overinflating these results as well. Just to drive this point home as well, this is a profitability dashboard and takes all the unit economics into account. And since they began in November 2022, just to backtrack for a second, this purple column is or represents net profit generated. So since their conception in November 2022, they've been profitable 2 months out of the however many months it was since they began. So in that first month and then in May 2023, then when we came in pretty much December 2023, we started rolling out our account changes. And then now in January, we are quite solidly in the green, which is obviously really good to see. And so I'll just run through those structures, all those structural changes that we made on the Google side, and essentially why we made those structural changes. So firstly, just with regards to the structure that they were running prior to us coming into their accounts, just to highlight November 2023. So essentially they had separated their range into different Performance Max campaigns and were running one Performance Max campaign per product category. Now, generally speaking, with Performance Max campaigns specifically, if you're going to run a Performance Max campaign, ideally you want to consolidate your entire range down into a single campaign, purely based on the fact that the more spend you can push through that campaign, given the fact that it's heavily machine learning based, the faster and more efficiently that campaign can learn. So the main problem in this scenario was they had separated their range out into too many different campaigns, given all the campaigns too little spend with too many assets. What that causes is the spend is too finely split across all of those different assets, and the campaign can't optimize efficiently. So coming into the account, the first thing we went and looked at was installed a PMax or Performance Max breakdown sheet. And essentially what this does is it breaks down all the data within Performance Max and gives us insights that aren't available directly in the Google Ads dashboard. So just to quickly reference this here, the first thing we noticed was that about 86 or almost 90% of their spend within Performance Max was going through the shopping network. Now, generally speaking, when starting off in an account, or especially in a low budget account, 90% of the time, the shopping network will be the most profitable and the most scalable in those early stages. So given the fact that Performance Max was redirecting almost 90% of spend into shopping, was a good sign. And especially in the early stages of an account, and when their spend is relatively low, there's not enough spend going through the campaigns for them to actually optimize efficiently across these other 3 channels. So specifically video, display, and search. Generally speaking, you need a huge amount of spend going through the campaign for these 3 channels to actually work. So following on from that, we decided to switch over to standard shopping campaigns from the Performance Max campaigns and consolidate down into fewer higher budget campaigns with multiple ranges consolidated into single campaigns. So this is slightly nuanced based on the brand. In some cases, specifically with standard shopping campaigns, you want to separate ranges out just that you can push more budget through certain products, etc. And from our experience, separating out standard shopping campaigns is a lot more effective and a lot more efficient than separating out categories into individual standard shopping campaigns is a lot more efficient and a lot more effective than separating categories out into separate Performance Max campaigns. So just to quickly go through this, in the month of November, again, just to reference that this is actually including Black Friday performance. So we consolidated these 3 Performance Max campaigns down into this. Okay, sorry, just for the ease of this video, we consolidated these 3 Performance Max campaigns down into the first standard shopping campaign, which is the catch-all. So just keep that in mind. And for reference, these 3 were sitting on roughly between a 1.5 and a 1 ROAS. Then the second humidifiers Performance Max, we consolidated that down, or we just converted that over to the humidifiers standard shopping campaign. And then the hearing aids Performance Max, we transitioned into the hearing aids standard shopping campaign. With regards to ROAS, hearing aids was sitting on about a 2, and humidifiers was also sitting on pretty much a 2 as well. So just highlighting the structure that's currently running, just with regards to that first standard shopping campaign that was consolidated down from 3 Performance Maxes, that's sitting on a 3 ROAS at the moment, which is pretty much double the return on ad spend that those 3 individual PMaxes was sitting at. We did cut spend slightly, which did help in this process, but regardless, much better performance. The same with the hearing aids, pretty much almost a 2x in ROAS as well. We've only just switched this humidifiers PMax over to standard shopping, so this is still in the early days, but we're confident that that should pick up as well based on the other 2 campaigns. And then we're in the process, or we will be transitioning this last PMax over to standard shopping in the near future as well. So just to quickly run through some benefits of using standard shopping campaigns over Performance Max campaigns, especially in low budget accounts, and where you need to be more granular with your control over the campaigns, especially in those early stages, because you simply don't have enough spend flowing through the campaign for the more, higher end PMax machine learning bidding strategies to optimize effectively at that spend level. So the first would be the negative keywords section. So just to give you an example of that here, essentially negative keywords are keywords that you can set the campaign to not rank for. So we have a universal negative keyword list that essentially stops us ranking for any sort of keywords that don't correlate to high purchase intent or don't suggest high purchase intent. So that is something that is useful as well with regards to, or the second area is specifically the search terms report. So this is not available in PMax. So from this, you can see exactly which terms you're ranking for. And then you can create, if you wanted to, create search campaigns specifically targeting these high performing keywords, which we will do at a later stage. And it just gives you really good insight into exactly what you're ranking for and what is consuming spend. Then the final advantage of using standard shopping campaigns over Performance Max campaigns is simply the versatility of being able to split these campaigns out into individual product groups and push certain sections of products harder than others. And this is especially relevant in the case of new lower budget accounts where essentially you have a wide range, but often you have only a limited spend. So ideally, you want to be pushing most of your spend through the highest performing category to essentially scale that as much as possible, and then use the revenue that you generate through that to scale the rest of your range. And that's essentially, a very effective, that's where standard shopping does come into its own as well, because essentially you can start off with a catch-all shopping campaign, so throwing all your products into a single shopping campaign, seeing which products perform the best, and then you can easily pull those out into their own standard shopping campaign and push more spend through those without negatively impacting the campaign as a whole, as you would have done in the case of a Performance Max campaign, due to resetting that learning phase, because the campaign is so reliant on that machine learning. So hopefully you found that valuable. Just to quickly highlight that again, it is still relatively early days in terms of us being in the account, but so far the strategy seems to be working extremely well, and we're going to continue with this going forward. So that was it. Hopefully you found that valuable. If you have any questions, leave them in the comments and we'll get back to you with our suggestions and feedback. If you liked the video, please consider giving it a like. It really helps us out and tells the algorithm that we know what we're talking about. If you're interested, subscribe for more, and we'll see you in the next video. Cool. Cheers.